morning, Reverend John.
Good morning. This is the voice from off stage. You have no idea the junk that we start storing on the side. Now it's all, is it on screen or not off screen? It's we're going to really have to clean house once you start coming back in the building one of these days.
I can help.
Yeah, I would say, don't bring your stuff here. Happy Halloween, everybody. Let me tell you why I love Halloween. Even though this was an odd Halloween, I did not get an outfit together. It's usually, for me, a big thing. And then to roam town during the week doing something. But here's what I like about it. So if you have ever dressed up for Halloween as an adult or children, what is the conversation leading up to Halloween? What are you going to be? That's the whole thing. And the problem is that there are so many choices that you have trouble settling on what it should be. It's like, what am I going to be? What are you going to be for Halloween? And I don't know about you, but I get a little obsessive about this. You know, looking online at different costumes or different pieces I can put together and create something extra unique or whatever. But there's this whole idea that you can be anything. You can go to your alter ego, something about yourself inwardly that you've never shown before. You could bring it out. You can be Superman or super person or superwoman for the day or something. And you don't even have to be all buffed up. You can buy the foam padding. You can just go out and do it for a day. And so that's why I love it. And that's why I think Halloween is so important this year. So we are in the middle of voting, and a very important vote, and a very important time in our history. And I don't know about you, but I feel a heaviness around this decision. I feel people feeling on edge, people acting badly in ways that they wouldn't act badly in other circumstances, that there's this bit of tension, and there's a bit of fear and anxiety of possibility of outcomes. But so how I'm going to kind of bring Halloween into this is that today we're going to have what I'm calling our metaphysical voter drive or guide. And I'm not telling you who to vote, but I want to challenge us to raise our consciousness about our vote. That, in a sense, bring that concept of Halloween, of what do we want to be? You get that imagination. What do I do? How do I want to show up? What do I want to express? And bring that into the present about the decisions that we are making for our country. That my hope is that in looking at it metaphysically, that we can help rise ourselves up from this heaviness that I think most of us are feeling right now. And to start asking as we are contemplating our vote, and even if you've already made your vote, you can always change the consciousness behind it, even after the fact. That's what's great about this. That to ask the questions, not, oh my God, disaster will happen if the choices I want don't come through, to who are we as a country? What can we be as a country? What qualities that we can bring forth as a country? Because it doesn't matter who we vote in the various spots. If we don't have that energy of wonder and vision behind it, it doesn't matter who's there. That we have to be the driving force of this train. We have to be the ones to say, this is the vision we have for our country, that it almost doesn't even matter who gets voted in, but this is the vision. This is the idea, and these are the possibilities that we are going to entertain right now. Again, much like your Halloween costume, there's so many possibilities, and there's nothing off the block as something that can be considered when you're going for Halloween. It should be the same for our country and our lives. There should be nothing that's off the table when we're imagining our greater selves through this point of great decision. So you with me with this? Let's talk about this a little bit more. So making a vote is much like making a prayer. It has the same things, that misconceptions, and the same really positive things about it. So let's talk a little bit about prayer and how this works. Of course, prayer is any form you might think, or even forming an affirmation. And since forming an affirmation, you're making a choice. I'm saying I would like this particular aspect to be in my life right now, just as a vote. You're making a vote. I want a certain thing to happen in our country. But here's how it works with both voting and prayer. So when you go into the voting booth, you can only vote for yourself. Or I said from yourself, in a sense. You can't vote for your spouse. You can't vote proxy for your children. In fact, even with mail-in ballots and all that, there's a lot of guidelines and laws that you can't just go around your neighborhood and collecting ballots, that people have written and take them down. It's really, you can only do your own, in a sense. Same with prayer, and a lot of people have trouble understanding this. You can't control what other people do through your prayers. You can't make your spouse change. You can't make your neighbor not run their blower at 6 a.m. in the morning through prayer. It doesn't work that way. And we'd like to think that we can. And it's from this whole old idea of prayer, I think, for many of our upbringings, that somehow that if we just, pray to the person in the sky enough, that he or she or whomever will make things happen for you. That it's almost like voting. If enough people put the right votes to God, he or she will then, poof, make the thing happen. That's not how it works. Prayer is about shifting consciousness. And first it starts with you. So let's even start with just with prayer. No longer trying to change your children, spouses, and neighbors. Because it doesn't work. It's a waste of time. You can start to change how you show up. But here's how prayer, in the sense of what we're going through right now as a country, that you can make a change through prayer. Again, you can't pray other people to change the vote. Absolutely doesn't work. Don't waste your time. Do something else. Because it doesn't work. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. It's so funny. In different houses, there might be people who vote differently. You're not going to change their opinion through prayer. Just not. So again, let's just get that out of our minds here. But what we can do, as in prayer we say, it's not what you pray for that's important, but what you pray from. What is the idea? What is the vision? What is the idea you want to bring forth through that prayer? Same thing with voting. Not so much what are you voting for, but what are you voting from? What's the motivation? What is your hopes and dreams that you hope will come forth with your vote? So as you start to think about the higher vision of what can happen through your vote, that you start to raise your own consciousness. And even though you can't change other people's minds through your consciousness, but at the same time, it can be an invitation to others in consciousness. That if you have, so just imagine, there used to be days that our room would be full here of people. You're full or at now online right now. But let's say you walked in early by mistake because it's daylight savings. There's always that uncomfortable day that you go, oops, I got here too early. And so you walk, we used to have a meditation in the morning before then, and we would have people on oops day, it's daylight savings, would come in early. And so they're coming in ready to say hello to people, and they say, oh, there's all these people meditating. It's an invitation. And more often than not, even though they are excited and they thought they were going to come here and hug people and all that sort of thing, they just kind of walk into this invitation to sit down and be silent. Nobody forced them to. But it was just like this welcome sign when they came in too early saying, would you like to be quiet? Would you like to lay at the front door all that, mishmash that you came in with and just be quiet with us for a while? And that's how shifting in consciousness works. We are all connected. And if you choose to raise your consciousness to possibility, that is an invitation to the people around you without having to try to micromanage them. They still can say no. But then there is power in groups. So let's say as a group, as we are doing our metaphysical voter guide today, that we were all, in a sense, voting from a higher state of consciousness, regardless of who we voted for. That higher state of consciousness in larger groups is really it grows. It's compelling. It's that thing of, I don't know what you're doing, but I want some of that kind of thing, which is so much different from a lot of the anxiety that we're doing and participating in right now. Like with all the fear and anxiety we have, and I understand it, I fall into it too, is that a preferable thing that you want to share with other people? Is that a preferable state of being that you want to make permanent for your everyday life from here forward? My guess is that it isn't. So here's the important thing that we can do right now. I mean, even though many people have voted, and it is so amazing how many people have voted already, so many more will vote on Tuesday. And again, you can change what you're, in a sense, voting from in consciousness, and it will affect the larger consciousness, even though a lot of voting has happened. So here's what we can do this weekend, and starting now. That we can be in what we call metaphysically the high watch, meaning that we are in a state of heightened consciousness where we know the greater good is guaranteed for our country. That it's not attached to particular people being in office, but there is a greater good that will come through us all, that if we all are on board with this, that it can't help but happen. And the more people that are involved, the more likely it will come forth above. That instead of the next couple days being one of great anxiety, we can add to a consciousness of it being peaceful and exciting in a different way. That we are in what we call divine right action and order in the universe. And even if there are some random things happening that are disconcerting, that we are, in a sense, we're on the high watch. I mean, this is what my invitation is to you, that as you start getting any anxiety, as you turn on the news or whatever, you say, wait a second, we're on the high watch. I'm on the Light on the Mountains High Watch team. And if I'm in a group of people that are like, oh my God, this is going to happen, it's like, no, we're on the high watch. And it's not even that you have to lecture people. It's like something inwardly where you just find your presence in that state. Just like coming here too early on Daylight Savings Day when everyone is in meditation, you bring that to where you are. And I can't tell you how much of a difference that will make and is making as we all are determined to do that. Here's an interesting quote I found from Gary Zukav. He said, "Choice is an engine of evolution. If you choose unconsciously, you will evolve unconsciously. If you choose consciously, you will evolve consciously. The power of choice is the greatest gift you have been given, second only to the gift of life itself." So we are choosing, because we're on Light on the Mountains High Watch, to evolve consciously. We are choosing to give that as an invitation to the rest of the country and people in our immediate energy range here, that we can be conscious about it. Because here's the other thing when we look at our choices. Again, what are we choosing from, as opposed to just the choices that we make? So, and that what you were choosing from makes all the difference. In fact, you can have the same end choice, and one can be disastrous and the other great, depending on what you're choosing from, in a sense. So when we look at our choices, one thing that we look at in the science of mind philosophy is what are your unconscious beliefs that just you're harboring, that are the filter with which you look at everything. So, and these beliefs can be positive and they can be negative. So they can be unconsciously, in a good way, fueling great things in your life. But more often than not, when we look at unconscious beliefs, we're looking how the negative ones are holding us back in some way. So here's a positive one. So a positive belief I have is that people more often than not are good. I believe that. And I believe that people make mistakes. And sometimes they show up not as their best self. But I believe that more often than not that they are good. Now you could also believe that some of the things that people are up to right now is proof otherwise. That people are more often than not good. So imagine as you're going around your life making decisions and doing what we all do, that you are operating on the belief that people are generally not good. What's going to come into your experience? How is your life going to be more filled with fear and anxiety? Because, well, people can't be trusted. You're not good. How is that different from the positive, maybe even unconscious belief that that's not so? So as we are looking to make these choices for our country right now, ask yourself, what filters am I using? Which ones are positive and which ones are so mired in fear that it's time to get rid of this? And especially now that you're on the Light on the Mountains High Watch team, we need to get rid of these negative unconscious beliefs that tell us that people that are different from ourselves are not good, or there's something weird or mysterious about them. Last week I brought in some quotes by a man named Bob Goff, and I really liked some of what he had to say, and it was interesting. He brought a new look on a New Testament verse where Jesus said that we need to love our neighbors. And he said the way he writes that is that we need to love those who think differently than ourselves. That's what you do in the high watch. And just really notice that, especially now that you're on board here, and I didn't even make you fill out a card to be on board, that you are going to have the opportunity to follow through with that. Let me tell you how this is going to show up. You're probably going to have a neighbor come over and tell you that they're voting for somebody different than you are. And you're going to go like, what? And then you're going to have ready that line you have about how they've lost their mind. But you're on high watch, and you're not going to do it. And you're going to elevate yourself and love them even though you think they are misguided and on the wrong path. And you are going to treat them so well that they're going to think, well, maybe that person who's voting differently isn't so bad after all. See how it starts to work? Here's an interesting I found from our spiritual principles class, a version of it from a few years ago that's no longer in it. I love this. It's called An Autobiography in 5 Steps. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in it. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. But it takes forever to find my way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. It isn't my fault. But it still takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I fall in. It's a habit. But now my eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street.
Yes.
This is so relevant right now. We have been walking down the same street for so much that they need to repave it. We have walked a pattern through the sidewalk and through the asphalt that it's down to the dirt we've walked it so much. So being on the high watch is saying, not only should I move around the hole in the ground, but maybe it's time to take a different route completely. And that's what voting in a sense is. And voting in consciousness is saying that we can be whatever we want. There are infinite possibilities, and we can make a new choice and different decisions, even though that old road we have been going on is so compelling. It's so comfortable. I know the directions by heart. I can go there with my eyes closed, and that's actually the problem there. We go there with our eyes closed. And we get so mired in this, in the conversation now, and this one against that one, and blaming the other, they're blaming us, and we don't even get to the idea of what we want to be as a country. We're just too busy squabbling about it, and we are just so dedicated going down the same street and not falling in the same hole, but like jumping in. Oh, there's the hole. I think I'll jump in again. We do that constantly. It's like, oh boy, the hole. I hope this one's deeper. I didn't hurt myself enough the last time I fell in it or jumped into it. I mean, it's like, oh my God, now it's got ragged rocks. Maybe I'll really get hit on the head this time. Let's go jump in and let's do it right now. Enough already. We're on the high watch. We are making these amazing positive choices right now. So this is what it's about now. Yes, we all have to make often binary choices. You fill in this little bubble or this little bubble for whomever you have decided you're going to vote for. But here's just what I'm asking you to do. Put something else behind it. As you fill in that bubble, don't say, boy, are we going to show those other people, when they get voted out, or, when we vote these people in, we'll really, they'll get their comeuppance. That's dive headfirst in the hole again. What is your highest vision for the country right now? That's the only thought that you should have in your head right now. There's going to be all sorts of landmines on the news and the media, and I don't think we should hide from the media, but this is a time that a couple days that you can just be in the high watch. Take a quick check-in, check out. And here's something that I would really like you, as I close today, to keep in mind, written by Ernest Holmes, called My Prayer for My Country. This was something he wrote in 1938 as fascism was starting to take over Europe. As we, as Americans, were on the slow advance into World War II. There was really dark clouds on the horizon, and this is what he had to say. My prayer for my country. Believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression for all, I offer this prayer for my country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States of America, directing the thought and the activities of all who guide its affairs. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and are the divine heritage of everyone in this country. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are now operating in the affairs of every individual in this country. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. I know that every leader in this country is now directed by this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem. Each is compelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundant security and peace shall come to all. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure in guaranteeing to everyone in this country personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. This is what we need to have in the high watch. And so I don't need to say or do anything more, but say, be well, be whole. Let's be in a higher consciousness for these next couple days. Thank you.